Hi, thank you for joining me. My name is Ray Sauls, and the name of this channel is A Disciple Indeed. Today's lesson is entitled, Who Pulled the Plug? I have always been fascinated by Bible prophecy. Most of the prophecies in the Bible have already been fulfilled, and I believe it is wise to pay attention to the ones that remain. I think of myself as a watchman. In ancient times, a watchman stood on the walls of the city. When they saw danger approaching, they sounded the alarms so that people could prepare. That is what I want to do in this lesson. I want to tell you about something I believe is coming very soon, so that you have an opportunity to prepare. In Matthew 24, verses 6 through 8, Jesus told his disciples what would happen in the last days, the days that we are in now. And if you hear of wars and rumors of wars, see that you are not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there will be famines, and pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. That literally means birth pains. Think of interval and intensity. As the interval gets shorter, the pain increases. That is what is happening today. As Americans, we are not really aware of famines in the world, but they are increasing. We don't think of pestilences, but around the world, they are increasing ever more. In the past 50 years, earthquakes are happening with decreasing interval and increasing damage. Now, I want to focus on those words famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in various places. When I look at the world today, I see wars and rumors of wars everywhere. I see instability. I see fear. I see nations straining against nations. To me, the setup is already here. The question is no longer, could this happen? The question is, are we watching it happen now? Let's begin with pestilences. We all remember COVID. For many people, it seems like that chapter has passed. But I believe it was only the beginning. There are still diseases and health problems moving through the world. And there is another pestilence that haunts entire nations: drugs. Drug addiction is destroying lives, families, and communities. That too is a kind of pestilence. Now I want to turn our attention to famines and earthquakes. I have been following water problems on the Mississippi River for several years. The Mississippi River is the greatest transportation artery of America. It carries corn, wheat, soy, coal, sand, gravel, petroleum products, and many other essentials. It is critical to the agricultural economy of the American interior. It also supplies drinking water to 8 million people, industries, and cooling water for 3 nuclear power generation plants. When a river like that has serious trouble, it is not a local problem. It becomes a national problem. I believe that we should pay close attention to this river. On February 25th, 2026, that's this year, the Mississippi River lost 9 feet of its depth in 3 days. Barge traffic came to an abrupt halt. When barges stop, grain stops moving. When grain stops moving, exports slow down. When exports slow down, supply chains tighten. And when fertilizer and farm inputs are delayed, future harvests are affected too. Today, the docks of the Gulf of Mexico are idle. 47% of America's agricultural products are not being shipped around the world. That is how one problem becomes many problems. Now, I direct your attention to a different problem that is under the Mississippi River, the New Madrid Fault region. This fault zone follows the river through 4 states, and it has a long history of seismic activity. In 1811 and 1812, there were earthquakes that were so powerful, their effects were felt 1,000 miles away. This region is starting to become seismically active again. Scientists associated with the Mississippi's disappearance have discovered that the water is draining through fissures up to 7 feet wide in the bottom of the New Madrid Fault region. It is like somebody pulled the plug. Many modern-day prophecy teachers and ministers have also spoken of judgment, shaking, and major upheaval in America. There are several modern-day prophets who are credible, who have shared stories of visions and dreams that God showed them of America being divided in half at the Mississippi River from the Gulf of Mexico to the Great Lakes. I am not claiming to know every detail, but I am saying this: I believe something is building. Now let's connect this to the wars in the world. Ukraine and Russia both provide the bulk of wheat and grain for Europe and Asia. The majority of the world's supply of potash, a fertilizer, comes from Ukraine. Most of the farmers in both countries were consumed in the war. The farms have no laborers anymore. Conflict in that region affects food availability far beyond borders. When war touches food production, the consequences can spread across continents. We must also consider the Middle East. When shipping lanes are threatened or blocked, the movement of essential goods becomes uncertain. Saudi Arabia is the primary source for nitrates, which is fertilizer. Due to the shutdown of the Strait of Hormuz, the fertilizer is not going anywhere. Next year's harvest worldwide will be sparse, if at all. One disruption feeds another. Now bring all of this together. If America's river systems are dying, if global grain supplies are strained, if fertilizer movement is disrupted, if drought continues in key agricultural regions, If the Western water systems continue to fail, then what do you think will happen next? The answer is simple. Food becomes scarce. Food becomes expensive. And some foods will disappear altogether for a season or longer. Take pictures of the bread aisle and take pictures of the cereal aisle. Soon you will look at those pictures with fond memories. Think about how much of daily life depends on grain, fertilizer, irrigation, transportation, and stable weather. Take pictures of the vegetables and fruit in your grocery store. The Colorado River provides water to a huge part of the American West, including farmland that helps feed the nation. That water is no longer available. Farming is parched. If farming is reduced, production is reduced. And if production is reduced while transportation is strained, shortages will become the norm. This is why I am sounding the alarm. Not to create panic, not to stir fear, but to encourage wisdom. If you have ears to hear, then hear. Jesus said these things would come. He told us beforehand, not so we would collapse in fear, but so we would recognize the season and be ready. So what should you do? Prepare. Do some YouTube searches. Learn about food production. Learn about basic prepping. Buy extra canned foods and shelf-stable foods as you are able. Be practical. Be prayerful. Be watchful. Do not wait until the shelves are half empty to realize you should have acted sooner. And above all, get close to God. Food matters. Supplies matter. But your relationship with God matters most. The days ahead may test many people. I do not say that lightly. But if this message wakes someone up, then I have done my job. I have a series on the end times. Seek the link at the top right entitled, You Stand at the Threshold. Click on it and be informed. Thank you for watching.